Every great empire, every breakthrough invention, every revolutionary idea, and every person who changed the course of history shared one powerful habit that most people never noticed. It wasn't extraordinary talent. It wasn't a prestigious university. It wasn't even being born into the right family. Their greatest advantage was much simpler. They never stopped teaching themselves. While millions of people believed education ended the day they left school, these individuals quietly continued learning, questioning, experimenting, and improving every single year. That is the hidden difference between people who merely follow the world and those who eventually shape it. Right now, the world is changing faster than at any other time in history. New technologies appear almost every month. Entire industries transform in just a few years. Skills that once guaranteed success slowly lose their value, while completely new opportunities are created for those who are ready to adapt. The surprising truth is that information has never been easier to access. Thousands of books, lectures, scientific papers, online courses, and expert discussions are available to almost anyone with an internet connection. Yet, despite living in the most information-rich period in human history, many people still struggle to grow. They consume endless videos, scroll through countless posts, listen to podcasts every day, and read motivational quotes, but very little in their lives actually changes. The problem isn't a lack of information. The problem is a lack of learning. There is a huge difference between collecting knowledge and transforming because of it. One fills your mind, the other changes your future. That difference is exactly what separates ordinary people from dangerously self-educated people. History quietly proves this lesson again and again. Many of the world's greatest innovators spent more time learning on their own than sitting inside classrooms. Some read hundreds of books every year. Others carried notebooks everywhere they went, constantly writing down ideas, questions, and observations. They treated every mistake as a lesson instead of a failure. They searched for answers instead of waiting for someone else to explain them. They became students of life, and they never graduated. That mindset gave them an advantage that money couldn't buy and certificates couldn't guarantee. In today's world, this advantage has become even more powerful because knowledge is no longer locked inside universities or expensive libraries. It is available to anyone willing to search, study, and apply it. The challenge is no longer finding information. The challenge is knowing which information matters, how to understand it, and most importantly, how to turn it into real results. Most people never reach that point because they mistake entertainment for education. They watch another video instead of practicing a skill. They finish another book without applying a single lesson. They mistake movement for progress. Quietly, month after month, their lives stay exactly the same. Meanwhile, another group of people is moving in a completely different direction. They read with purpose. They ask better questions. They compare different ideas instead of accepting the first answer they hear. They build skills while others collect facts. They understand that knowledge without action is little more than stored information. Real learning begins when knowledge changes behavior. That is why some people seem to grow faster every single year. Their success looks sudden from the outside, but it is actually built on thousands of small lessons learned in private. Every article they studied, every mistake they analyzed, every book they finished, every conversation they reflected on, and every new skill they practiced slowly shaped the person they became. Growth rarely announces itself. It happens quietly until one day everyone notices the results. Many people still believe that intelligence is something people are born with. Modern research tells a different story. The brain constantly changes as it learns. Every new skill strengthens connections inside the brain. Every challenge solved improves your ability to solve the next one. Learning literally reshapes the way you think. This means your future intelligence depends far more on your daily habits than on your past education. That is incredibly powerful because it means you are not limited by yesterday's knowledge. You are limited only by your willingness to keep learning today. Every hour spent learning a valuable skill becomes an investment that keeps paying you back for years. Every book that changes your perspective opens doors you never knew existed. Every difficult concept you finally understand increases your confidence to tackle even bigger challenges. Little by little, your thinking becomes sharper, your decisions become wiser, and your opportunities become greater. In this video, you are going to discover what truly makes someone dangerously self-educated. You will learn why simply reading more books is not enough, and why many intelligent people never reach their full potential despite consuming endless information. You will discover the mindset that allows successful people to learn faster than the average person. You will understand why independent thinking is becoming one of the most valuable skills of the modern age. You will learn how to read with purpose instead of reading for completion, why building practical skills matters more than memorizing facts, how creating your own learning system can multiply your growth, and why teaching others is one of the fastest ways to master any subject yourself. Most importantly, you will see how these habits connect together to create a powerful cycle of continuous improvement that lasts for a lifetime. Each lesson builds on the previous one, so watching until the end will give you the complete picture instead of isolated pieces of advice. Missing even one part could mean overlooking the habit that has the biggest impact on your own growth. The most valuable education you will ever receive may never come with a certificate. It may never happen inside a classroom. It may never be recognized with a graduation ceremony. Instead, it will happen during quiet moments when you choose curiosity over comfort, learning over excuses, and growth over routine. Those small daily choices eventually create extraordinary results. The people who understand this do not wait for the future to become better. They prepare themselves so they are ready when opportunity arrives. That preparation begins with a single decision to become responsible for your own education. Once that decision is made, every book becomes a teacher, every challenge becomes a lesson, every failure becomes valuable feedback, and every day becomes another opportunity to become a wiser, stronger, and more capable version of yourself. Welcome to our channel, where we explore powerful ideas, timeless wisdom, psychology, success, and self-improvement that help you grow beyond your limits. If you're ready to think differently, learn faster, and build a future that most people only dream about, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos. Now, let's begin your journey towards becoming dangerously self-educated. The biggest mistake most people make is believing that learning automatically creates progress. It doesn't. Progress begins only when knowledge changes the way you think, the way you act, and the choices you make every day. Look around and you'll notice something surprising. Millions of people spend hours listening to podcasts on success, watching educational videos, reading best-selling books, and following experts online. Their phones are full of saved posts. Their shelves are full of books. Their notebooks are full of quotes. Yet if you compare their lives today with where they were a year ago, very little has changed. The reason is simple. Consuming information feels productive, but it is not the same as becoming better. Learning without action is a comfortable form of entertainment. It gives your brain the feeling that you're making progress because you're constantly discovering new ideas. In reality, those ideas remain trapped inside your mind, never becoming part of your daily life. Knowledge that stays in your head has very little value. Knowledge that changes your behavior has unlimited value. That is the difference between an average learner and a dangerously self-educated person. Dangerous learners never finish a chapter or watch a lecture without asking themselves one important question: what will I do differently because of this? They don't measure learning by how much they remember. They measure it by how much they apply. Every lesson becomes a decision. Every idea becomes an experiment. Every insight becomes a new habit. If they read about improving communication, they practice listening more carefully the very same day. If they learn about building discipline, they create a simple routine instead of waiting until Monday. If they discover a better way to manage money, they change their spending immediately. Small actions repeated consistently create massive change over time. That is why two people can read the exact same book and end up living completely different lives. One person closes the book, places it back on the shelf, and was inspired. A few weeks later, most of the lessons have already been forgotten. The other person closes the same book, writes down one useful idea, and begins applying it every day. 1 year later, their confidence has grown, their habits have improved, and their results speak for themselves. The book didn't create a difference, their actions did. This is why information alone never guarantees success. Action transforms information into experience, and experience transforms ordinary people into masters. Instead of asking, what else should I learn? Begin asking, what can I apply before I learn something new? That simple shift changes everything, because your life starts reflecting your knowledge instead of merely storing it. Once you begin acting on what you learn, another challenge appears. The modern world is full of opinions. Every day, thousands of people tell you what to believe, what to buy, how to succeed, and how to live. Social media rewards confidence, not always accuracy. News headlines compete for attention instead of truth. Influencers often speak with certainty, even when they disagree with one another. In a world overflowing with information, the greatest advantage is no longer having access to facts. It is knowing how to think. Memorizing information has become easier than ever because every answer is only a few seconds away. Thinking deeply has become much rarer. Anyone can repeat what they heard in a video. Far fewer people stop to ask whether it is actually true. Dangerous, self-educated people develop a habit that separates them from the crowd. They question everything, including ideas they already believe. They ask why something works instead of simply accepting that it does. They compare different viewpoints instead of following the loudest voice. They search for evidence instead of popularity. They understand that truth does not become true because millions of people agree with it. History reminds us of this lesson again and again. Many ideas that were once accepted by almost everyone were later proven wrong. Progress has always depended on people willing to challenge old assumptions and search for better answers. Independent thinking does not mean rejecting every opinion. It means examining ideas carefully before making them part of your own thinking. When you read a book, don't simply agree with every page. Ask whether the evidence supports the claims. When you hear advice from successful people, consider whether it fits your own goals and circumstances. Learn to separate facts from opinions and emotions from evidence. This habit strengthens your judgment, improves your decisions, and protects you from following bad advice simply because it sounds convincing. Every expert in history began as someone curious enough to question accepted beliefs. They refused to stop asking questions. That willingness to think independently became their greatest strength. Of course, thinking well depends on what you feed your mind every day. Your brain is like a garden. Whatever you plant will eventually grow. If you constantly fill it with shallow entertainment, endless gossip, and meaningless distractions, your thinking becomes just as shallow. But when you consistently feed it with timeless ideas, your perspective expands. Reading remains one of the most powerful ways to accelerate that growth. Yet many people approach books in the wrong way. They chase numbers instead of wisdom. They proudly announce how many books they finished this year, but rarely talk about what actually changed because of them. Reading is not a competition. It is a conversation with some of the greatest minds that have ever lived. Every biography allows you to learn from someone else's lifetime of experience without making every mistake yourself. Psychology teaches you why people think and behave the way they do. History reveals patterns that repeat across generations. Business teaches problem solving and value creation. Philosophy helps you ask better questions about life and decision making. Science trains your mind to seek evidence instead of assumptions. Each subject strengthens a different part of your thinking. Together, they create a more complete understanding of the world. Dangerous learners read with intention. They don't rush through chapters just to reach the final page. They slow down when they find an important idea. They underline meaningful sentences. They write notes in the margins. They pause to reflect. They return to important passages weeks later because they understand that real learning often happens during review, not during the first reading. Instead of asking, "How many books have I finished?" they ask, "Who am I becoming because of these books?" That question changes the purpose of reading completely. Books stop becoming objects to complete and become tools for personal transformation. Reading fills your mind with possibilities, but those possibilities only become real when they influence your actions. This is where many learners reach another turning point. Information can inspire you, but skills change your future. There is a huge difference between knowing something and being able to do it. Reading 100 books about swimming will never teach you how to swim. Watching hours of cooking videos will not make you a great chef. Understanding the theory of leadership does not automatically make people trust you. Every meaningful skill grows through practice, repetition, mistakes, and improvement. That is why dangerously self-educated people spend less time trying to appear knowledgeable and more time becoming capable. They write instead of only reading about writing. They build projects instead of endlessly planning them. They start businesses instead of only studying entrepreneurship. They practice speaking instead of only watching presentations. Every attempt teaches lessons that no classroom can fully provide. Mistakes become valuable because each one reveals a weakness that can be improved. Confidence grows naturally through experience, not positive thinking. Someone who practices a skill for 100 focused hours will almost always outperform someone who spends 1,000 hours only studying it. Experience creates instincts that cannot be memorized from a page. It teaches timing, judgment, creativity, and resilience. Every project exposes challenges you never expected. Solving those challenges strengthens your abilities in ways that passive learning never could. The people who achieve extraordinary results are rarely the ones who know the most. They are the ones who consistently turn knowledge into action until that knowledge becomes skill. As your skills grow, another challenge begins to appear. The more you learn, the easier it becomes to forget what you've already discovered. Valuable ideas disappear beneath new information unless you create a system to organize them. Many people rely entirely on memory, but memory is unreliable. Great learners build systems instead of depending on motivation. They understand that consistency beats intensity every single time. Studying for 10 hours once a month feels impressive, but learning for just 30 minutes every day produces far greater results over the long term. Daily learning becomes part of their identity rather than an occasional event. They keep one notebook or one trusted place for important ideas. Whenever they discover something useful, they record it before it disappears. They organize lessons into categories, connect related concepts, and regularly review what they've learned. As time passes, these notes become a personal library built specifically for their own goals and interests. Instead of repeatedly searching for the same information, they create a system where valuable knowledge is always within reach. This organized collection of ideas becomes a second brain that grows stronger every year. Patterns become easier to recognize because information is connected instead of scattered. Reviewing old notes often reveals new insights that were invisible the first time. Knowledge compounds, just like any valuable investment. Every new idea becomes more powerful when connected to previous learning. Still, even an organized mind reaches its highest level only when knowledge is shared. Many people assume teaching is something experts do after they master a subject. The opposite is often true. Teaching is one of the fastest ways to become an expert because it forces you to understand ideas clearly enough to explain them simply. It quickly exposes gaps in your understanding. If you cannot explain a concept in clear language, you probably don't understand it as well as you think. Dangerous learners use this to their advantage. After reading a chapter, they summarize it in their own words. They discuss ideas with friends. They answer questions whenever possible. Some write articles, others create videos or keep journals. The format matters far less than the process itself. Explaining knowledge forces your brain to organize information logically. It reveals confusion that remained hidden while reading silently. Every question someone asks pushes you to think more deeply. Every explanation strengthens your memory. The world's best teachers are often lifelong students because they know every lesson they share sharpens their own understanding. Teaching transforms learning from passive consumption into active mastery. The deeper you travel into self-education, the more you realize there is no final destination. Every answer leads to another question. Every skill reveals another level of mastery. Every achievement opens the door to even greater possibilities. This is where curiosity becomes your greatest companion. Curiosity keeps learning alive long after formal education ends. It encourages you to explore subjects outside your profession, discover unfamiliar ideas, and remain open to perspectives different from your own. Truly self-educated people never believe they know enough. They stay humble because every new discovery reminds them how much remains to be learned. They listen carefully to people with different experiences. They learn from older generations who carry decades of wisdom, and they also learn from younger people who often see the world in fresh and creative ways. They treat every conversation as an opportunity to gain insight. They treat every mistake as feedback instead of failure. They remain excited by questions instead of frightened by uncertainty. That curiosity keeps their minds flexible while others become trapped by routine. It prevents growth from slowing down because there is always another idea to explore, another skill to develop, another perspective to understand, and another challenge waiting to teach them something new. This mindset quietly transforms learning from a temporary goal into a lifelong way of living. And that is the habit that truly separates the dangerously self-educated from everyone else. The truth is that becoming dangerously self-educated has nothing to do with having the highest IQ, the most expensive education, or the longest list of certificates. It begins with a single decision: the decision to take complete responsibility for your own growth. Throughout this video, you've discovered that real learning is not about collecting information. It's about transformation. It's about reading with purpose instead of reading for entertainment. It's about thinking independently instead of following every opinion you hear. It's about building practical skills instead of collecting endless facts. It's about creating a learning system that keeps your knowledge organized, teaching others to deepen your understanding and staying curious no matter how much you already know. These habits may sound simple, but when they are repeated day after day, month after month, and year after year, they create extraordinary results. Success rarely arrives overnight. It grows quietly through thousands of small decisions that most people never notice. Every page you read, every skill you practice, every mistake you learn from, and every question you dare to ask is shaping the person you are becoming. One day, you'll realize that the gap between you and everyone else wasn't created by luck. It was created by your commitment to never stop learning. 5 years from today, many people will still be searching for shortcuts. They'll still be waiting for someone else to tell them what to do. They'll still believe that the perfect course, the perfect mentor, or the perfect opportunity will finally change their lives. But while they're waiting, you'll already be moving forward. You'll be gaining knowledge they ignored. You'll be developing skills they never started. You'll be solving problems they don't know how to solve. Every book you finish with intention, every lesson you apply, and every challenge you overcome will quietly build an advantage that no one can take away from you. Eventually, people will notice your confidence, your wisdom, and your ability to adapt to any situation. They'll call you gifted. They'll call you talented. Some may even call you lucky. What they won't see are the countless mornings you chose to learn instead of making excuses, the evenings you spent improving your skills while others wasted time, and the discipline it took to keep growing when nobody was watching. That is the hidden power of self-education. It works silently until one day the results become impossible to ignore. Always remember this: the future doesn't belong to the people who know the most today. It belongs to the people who never stop learning tomorrow. Every new skill you develop expands your opportunities. Every new idea strengthens your thinking. Every lesson you apply moves you one step closer to the life you want. The greatest investment you will ever make is not in a business, a degree, or a possession. It is in your own mind. Because once knowledge becomes part of who you are, nobody can steal it, replace it, or take it away. Keep feeding your curiosity. Keep asking better questions. Keep challenging yourself to grow. Version of you that exists a few years from now will be built by the choices you make starting today. If you enjoyed this video and learned something valuable, don't let this be the end of your journey. Subscribe to the channel and become part of a community that is committed to learning, growing, and becoming stronger every single day. We publish videos designed to help you think smarter, master yourself, and unlock your full potential. If this video gave you a new perspective, take 1 second to hit the like button. It helps this video reach more people who are ready to change their lives. Share this video with a friend, a family member, or anyone who believes that learning ends after school, because this message could completely change the way they see their future. And before you leave, tell us in the comments, what is the next skill you're going to teach yourself, and why did you choose it? We read every comment, and your answer might inspire someone else to begin their own journey. Thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep improving, keep staying curious, and we'll see you in the next video.